Adhesive forces. Forces of attraction between two different materials. Amorphous solids. Solids with no long-term regularity. Boiling point. The temperature at which the equilibrium vapor pressure of a liquid is equal to the external boiling pressure. Capillary action. The spontaneous movement of a liquid up a tube. Cohesive forces. Forces of attraction between molecules of the same material. Condensation. The conversion of a material from the gaseous state into the liquid state. Critical point. The point at which the vapor pressure versus temperature curve for a material ends. Critical pressure. The pressure at the critical point. Critical temperature. The temperature above which a material cannot be liquefied, no matter how much pressure is applied. Crystal lattice. The solid regular array of atoms, ions, or molecules in a crystalline solid. Dipole, induced dipole attraction. Forces of attraction between a polar molecule and a nonpolar molecule. This force is generated when the presence of a polar molecule causes the electrons in the nonpolar molecule to shift, setting up a temporary dipole of the nonpolar molecule. Dipole-dipole attraction. Forces of attraction between two polar molecules. The positive part of one will line up with the negative part of the other. Dynamic equilibrium. A situation in which two reverse processes are occurring at the same rate. Energy of hydration. The solvation energy when the solvent is water. Equilibrium vapor pressure. The pressure of the vapor of a substance in contact with its liquid phase in a sealed container. Freezing point. The temperature at which a liquid freezes. Freezing. The process of converting a liquid into a solid. Hydrogen bond. A strong type of dipole-dipole interaction. It arises between a small very electronegative atom in a hydrogen that is covalently bonded to another small very electronegative atom. Induced dipole attraction. temporary correlations of electron movements on different molecules that result in temporary dipoles being established and attracting the molecules to one another, while all molecules possess this type of intermolecular force. This is the only type of intermolecular force possible between two nonpolar molecules. Intermolecular forces. Interactions between molecules. Ions are molecules and ions. Ion-dipole attraction. Forces of attraction between an ion and a polar molecule. The ion and the portion of a polar molecule that has the opposite charge will line up and be attracted to one anode. Ionic solids. Solids made up of positive and negative ions. Lattice points. The corners of a unit cell in a crystal lattice. Melting point. The temperature at which a solid melts. Melting. The process of converting a solid to a liquid. Molecular solids. Solids in which molecules are the fundamental repeating unit. Network solids. Solids in which the atoms are held together in infinite to equals or three-dimensional networks by means of covalent bonds. Normal boiling point. The boiling point under external pressure of 760 mm of mercury. Octahedral hole. In an ionic solid, an ion is in an octahedral hole if it is surrounded by 6 ions of the other element arranged in an octahedral geometry. Phase diagram. A graph showing the state of matter present for a substance under different combinations of temperature and pressure. Polarizability. The ease with which the electron cloud of an atom or molecule can be distorted. Polarization. The process of inducing a dipole. Solvation energy. The energy associated with surrounding material with molecules of a solvent. Standard molar enthalpy of crystallization. The enthalpy change accompanying the transformation of 1 mole of a liquid into a solid under standard conditions. Standard molar enthalpy of fusion. The enthalpy change accompanying the transformation of 1 mole of a solid into liquid under standard conditions. Standard molar enthalpy of vaporization. The enthalpy change accompanying the transformation of 1 mole of liquid into the gaseous state under standard conditions. Standard molar enthalpy of sublimation. The enthalpy change accompanying the transformation of 1 mole of a solid directly into the gaseous state under standard conditions. Sublimation. The process of converting a solid into a gas without passing through the liquid state. Surface tension. The energy required to break through the surface of a liquid or to disrupt a drop of the liquid and spread the material out as a film. Tetrahedral hole. In an ionic solid, an ion is in a tetrahedral hole if it is surrounded by 4 ions of the other element arranged in a tetrahedral geometry. Triple point. The one combination of temperature and pressure where the solid, liquid and gaseous phases of a material are all in equilibrium with each other. Unit cell. The smallest repeating unit of a crystal lattice. Vaporization. The conversion of a material from the liquid state into the gaseous state. Viscosity. A measure of the resistance of liquids to flow. More viscous materials do not flow easily. Volatility. The tendency of the molecules of a liquid to escape from the liquid phase and enter the vapor phase.